We're in quite an interesting little patch of time right now because the nodes of the moon have just changed signs. The nodes of the moon are the mathematical points in the sky where they show us where the eclipses are going to be. So the eclipses for the last 18 months have been in Cancer and Capricorn, and they're moving into Gemini and Sagittarius. And I have to say, I find those incredibly significant in terms of important life events, frankly. And also important mundane events. They show you where stuff is happening. So the nodes are moving from this sort of tribal, the North Node is in the tribal sign of Cancer, tribe family, opposite to Capricorn, which is government and big institutions, among other things. That's just very simplified. So moving from those kind of organizations and structures, and the nodes are now moving into Gemini and Sagittarius, which in short are the signs of information and education, how we gather it and how we disseminate it. Where the North Node in particular is going to be in Gemini. The North Node tends to be the more obvious outward thing, and the South Node may be, I wouldn't say it's more inward, but it's different, right? When you're looking at a natal chart, the North Node is like the mouth, and the South Node is like where we excrete stuff. That's also very simplified, but essentially it's the dragon's head is the North Node and the dragon's tail is the South Node. So you see these, it's very, there's different ends of the same beast. Now, I wanted to talk about this and why this is an interesting patch of times, because the nodes have just moved, and the moon this week and this week is in Sagittarius, so it's about to go across the nodes. It's doing the first trigger of the nodes of any planet, really, and it's going to go across them in the next few days. And I would just suggest that this is quite an interesting time to be looking for, to be aware anyway, of a change in atmosphere and in synchronicities, and keeping an eye out for Gemini type things happening or Sagittarian type things happening. By Gemini, I mean synchronicities about twinning, or names that are to do with doubling or very mental stuff. Sagittarius is obviously anything to do with centaurs, but this is to do with broadcasting, publishing, hospitality. I mean, one thing I can tell you about the eclipses that are happening in Sagittarius is the hospitality industry is going to be having some very big changes. And as you probably should know, or you do know, Sagittarius, a lot of people who work in the restaurant business have got strong Sagittarius, and that is going to be changing anyway. So it's an interesting little patch of time, the next few days, and even the next 2 weeks as the moon moves along, to just be aware of that change in atmosphere and just keep your eyes open for what's changing for you.